Welcome to Overseas Edu Guide. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon.
Hello, I am Jasmine, your guide here at the Overseas Edu Guide, and today I'll be talking about why to study in Europe. So let's get started. First, I'll talk about the admission process at European universities. So the European universities usually require less documentation for the application phase. Some universities simplify the admission process so much that everyone that applies gets in the program without a formal interview. For example, in that case, the student selection happens throughout the program depending on the program difficulty and the student's capacity to keep up with the current coursework. If you're applying for a highly specialized program, example an MBA, then you need to bring in more papers that are specifically requested by your institutions or pass an exam. Now, I'll be talking about the tuition fees for the European universities. In case of the European universities, there are two essential factors that play a major role in the final price tag of your master's degree. First is whether you are a European Union citizen or not, and the second is what country you want to study in. The flexibility in terms of your wallet offers a big selection pool of your choices. It makes you feel less forced into a particular decision based only on your spending possibilities. Also, don't forget about the scholarships that Europe has to offer you. Now, how is the campus life in Europe? So, in Europe, even though campuses are made to cater to every student-related needs, they are not necessarily the only or best hotspot for student activities. Cities that harbor universities offer more diversity when it comes to places that students might find interesting. Campuses in Europe focus more on the academic experience and on extracurricular support. If you are considering going to an Europe university, then you should take into account if the city where you'll be moving to is vibing with you. Do you like the pace there? Are you excited by the opportunities that the city has to offer? Now, talking about the learning approach and teacher interaction. In the universities of Europe, they employ a more individualistic learning style. You can find courses that sum up hundreds of students at a time. Lectures can be viewed online and the examination usually takes place at the end of the course. Also, European institutions pride themselves with teaching their students ways of thinking rather than focusing only on knowledge sharing. Now, I'll be discussing with you the course structure in the European universities. They tend to take a more traditional approach to their course structures. Masters at most European institutions have a predefined list of mandatory courses that one needs to follow. That is because there is more emphasis put on laying the foundation for students and allowing them to make ownership on expanding their horizon, especially via research projects. A great deal of European universities offer one-year academic program on a master's level. This aspect contributes to the need for a solid base when it comes to the available circular. Now, how the exams are conducted in the European universities. As I mentioned earlier, that European universities practice a more individualistic learning style. Taking exam at these institutions also reflects this attitude. Most universities have one major exam per course that usually decides or weighs in heavily on the final grades for the course. The exam typically lasts between 1.5 and 3 hours and is held at the end of the semester. These kinds of exams try to evaluate your knowledge of the course material in one swing. In case there is an oral exam that usually lasts for 20 minutes. The upside of this approach is that it gives students more flexibility to learn according to their own learning style rather than imposing it on them. Now, lastly, one of the biggest perks that international students mention about studying in Europe is the freedom to go to all the popular hallmarks on the continent, enjoy a quiet morning walk along the Seine in Paris, try out traditional Eastern European food and drinks, dance at Belgian festivals, go to a typical German village, and hike the highest mountains of Austria, Italy, or Switzerland. There's no activity that you can't pursue during your studies in Europe. That's all for this video. Thank you so much.
Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon. We care for your future. Contact us for a counseling session.